Welcome to the fourth part of my Scott Pilgrim analysis series. In this video, we'll be doing a brief breakdown of the themes of Book 4, Scott Pilgrim Gets It Together. Before we begin, I want to offer a quick spoiler warning. This video will expect that you've at least read the entire series before, as we'll be referencing the books before and after this one in our analysis. If you haven't, please do read them, then come back to this video. Without further ado, let's get started. This book is concerned with the concept of unfinished business, last pieces of the past coming back to become resolved. Some examples include Lisa returning and exploring her relationship with Scott. Roxy, Ramona's next ex, appears to attack Scott, who still has feelings for Ramona. Lastly, Knives' dad seeks out Scott for revenge. Scott has a recurring dream of being in an RPG. I think it would be fun to pick this concept apart for a bit. These dreams occur twice in the book, once before going to the mall where he reunites with Lisa, and a second time where he stays at Lisa's apartment. Both dreams are interrupted, once by Ramona and second by Roxy. In the first dream, an elf mentions a code. Scott assumes that he's referring to a cheat code. It's possible the elf could be referring to some sort of moral code Scott must adhere to in order to grow and progress with his relationship with Ramona. It could also refer to an answer to a puzzle, the key to Scott's dilemma. I think the fact that both dreams are interrupted in similar ways is also interesting to note. Both Ramona and Roxy berate Scott for his inaction. Rather than the dreams representing a search for knowledge, they can be seen as a representation of Scott's idle nature. It's definitely easier to read the second dream that way, as Scott contemplates what would have been if he had gotten together with Lisa in the past.
Book 3 introduces Envy and Todd, characters who represent the pain of the past, returning to the present. Inverse to this, Roxy and Lisa represent the comfort of nostalgia. Despite this contrast, it doesn't mean that the return brings the promise of good things to come. Focusing on the evil ex, I think it's interesting that Roxy is maybe one of the only exes that Ramona has any sort of rapport for. It's also possible that she just tolerates her. A couple of scenes reveal that Roxy seems to be suffering from some sort of self-esteem issue. Was it something that Ramona exacerbated in the relationship? Interestingly, it's Roxy's theories of Scott cheating that instill some form of insecurity in Ramona. Despite this supposed rapport or tolerance, Roxy's presence only offers distrust and insecurity. Pivoting the focus to Lisa, she's similar to Knives in the sense that she's easy. Scott doesn't need to prove himself or put in any work as Lisa is already into him. When Scott is having more difficulties connecting with Ramona, Lisa represents a tempting comfort. Both pairings are created from a figure emerging to try and rekindle a relationship from the past. Both the protagonists end up falling back on these returning figures when things get tough. It's only when they take on the challenge of maintaining their present relationship that they are able to overcome their adversities. It's interesting that Scott has anxiety professing his love for Ramona, despite his feelings being evident. Was this some sort of reflex from when he was dating Envy? Is he afraid that being earnest will backfire like last time? Ultimately, Scott and his relationship grows when he gathers the courage to be true about his feelings. In a lot of ways, this story is the calm before and after the storm. Scott makes the effort to pick his life back together, while the challenges of the present and nostalgia for the past push him to fall back into his old habits. While the good times of the past can be a source of comfort, it otherwise can't compare to the tangible reward of the present. It's only when we face the challenges of the present that we're able to progress.